Shalom. This is Truth is Everlasting, Lion's Den. I am Yahweh Sap. I camp out with Lion Den, Hawan Ben Yashua in Jacksonville, Florida. But first I have to give a prayer to the Father, to the Son, to the elders, to the Akims, to the women and children around the world in ancient Hebrew language. Kal Halayim La, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Ha Roka Kodash Mahamah, in the name of Yahweh Shai, in spirit and holy and in truth. Double honors to the 144,000 chosen elect. Double honors to the elders of GMS. Double honors to my elder Hawam. Salutation to the Akims who are on the four corners of the earth. And to the women and children, Shalom. Okay, well, things are getting very excited out there, right? And our people, the so-called Latinos, right, the Hispanics, going out there and protesting, but look what popped up. The big para arrives, right? The two plan, let's say two plan down, sorrow moves in, right? We have spoken, the elders have done many lessons, as well other Akims, about, sorrow is behind these protests, okay? This is going to prove it again. The title of this lesson, God of Hosts, right? Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, host of army of angels, okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of this, and then we go into the lesson. Here we go.
We're exposing how George Soros is ready to turn June 14th into a day of chaos. We're also going to talk about two different aviation incidents, and of course, some other stories the legacy media is keeping away from you. But the very first thing I want to share is about this insane No Kings protest that's going to take place on June 14th.
That day will be marked by defiant protests in more than 1,000 other cities across the country. Each red dot represents one of the 1,800 No Kings rallies.
What can you do at home? It's No Kings Day this Saturday. 2,000 rallies across America. Americans need to show up, because if we don't show up, democracy dies.
I'm sure many of you have seen videos like this one promoting these protests that are going to take place all over the U.S.
This is a time for us to peacefully come together and to speak out against and protest what our government, specifically Trump, has been doing.
Tired of planning your
Oh,
entire
Salakia, you know how it is.
ED pill? Check out
You know how it is
Ready.
with
This code
YouTube.
ED Med-
There you go.
Protest what our government, specifically Trump, has been doing in the United States.
However, we all know these protests, or more accurately riots, are often very well funded. I mean, at this point, people are coming out daily to reveal how much they were being paid to join these riots in LA.
Who's making money on riots? Professional agitators for a start, but the trouble is figuring out who's paying them. Following apparent top-level security briefings on the subject, President Trump branded the 2025 LA anti-ICE riots as being fueled by agitators. While some dismissed these claims, they appear to have been corroborated by LAPD Chief of Police Jim McDonnell in a press interview, where he acknowledged that there are people in the crowd who, quote, do this all the time. This tracks reports of mysterious ads offering to pay up to $12,500 per week for rioters.
I just got offered $200 a day to go protest ICE in New York. The organization was called No Kings. They said June 14th we're going to be protesting, and these are the streets that you need to be on, and this is what you need to do.
So, of course, the big question is just who in the world is bankrolling these violent movements? Now, our DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem, has said she's going to uncover the identity of everyone who funded these riots.
With their leadership, and we also have the IRS here that's helping us track how these violent protesters are funded. What NGOs out there, what unions, what other individuals may be funding these violent perpetuators that are in these protests that take people who may be wanting to come and be peaceful, but instead turn these into very violent activities that go after law enforcement.
However, so far, the only person caught by the federal agents happens to be Senator Alex Padilla.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also wanted to
head
talk about
off.
how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you don't my hands, go ahead, put behind my back.
Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
Now, the Secret Service has said that they put handcuffs on the senator because he didn't identify himself and they perceived him as a threat. However, this excuse isn't working with liberal politicians who are using it to make people even angrier.
If you can make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop? He's a United States senator. And if you can force him to kneel to his knees violently, when does it stop?
But once again, my question is just how do these NGOs have enough money to orchestrate nationwide riots? Well, here you need to understand which NGO is basically running the No Kings movement. It's called the Indivisible Project, and you might have heard about them since they were also bankrolling the anti-Tesla protests. Now, Indivisible was created in 2016 by Ezra Levine and Leah Greenberg, and in their own words, their initial goal was just to get Hillary Clinton elected. Their goal, however, changed into opposing Donald Trump, and they've been pretty open about their agenda, and they don't care if anyone exposes them.
And actually, you know what? I want to give another shout out to somebody really near and dear to my heart. I don't know them personally, but I've seen their work.
Now, I want to remind you that these are the same guys who were paying people to take violent action against Tesla.
That is the fact. And Indivisible, which has really been the backbone and spearheading so much of these protests and demonstrations, well, they're actually paying not just these protesters to participate in these town halls, to go after their members of Congress. They specifically have a, quote, Musk or Us program where they're paying protesters up to $200.
And as for their funding, well, let me show you something insane. In 2021, they were paid an undisclosed amount by none other than Reid Hoffman. And I'm sure you know he's one of the smart city fanatics, and he was as much involved with Epstein as Bill Gates. So already that's a huge red flag, but things only get worse from here. The Indivisible Project has also been paid a staggering $8 million by George Soros and his many organizations. Now, of course, $8 million is a lot of money, but that's not how George helped this organization. By directly supporting them, he basically made certain that all of his sick friends would also be paying Indivisible millions and millions of dollars.
Okay, let me stop it right there so you can see how crazy it is. But you know, when they're talking about Congress, government, or President Trump, they're all working together, right? Because they got to bring in the MOTV, right? The beast system, that chip, right? And they only have a short time to do all this, okay? I want to go to Jeremiah chapter 46, verse 10. For this is the day of Yahweh's power, of hosts, of armies, okay, of the heavens, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries. And the sword shall devour, and it shall be satiated, if I said it wrong, Slovakia, which it means to complete satisfy, okay? Where am I? Satisfy yourselves, or a need, especially with food or pleasure. In this case, you know, it's righteousness, removing wickedness from the face of the earth, right? And made drunk with their blood. For Yahweh Shai's power of hosts, of army, has a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates, right? But when I look up the word Euphrates, besides it means you know, the sweet water, or you know, where the four angels supposed to escape or come out, but spiritually it also means a boundary, and time signify the escorting. In other words, the end of this world. It means the final event in the divine plan, the end of the world. Now, it doesn't mean the earth, it means the world system, right? It means this wicked kingdom, right? I believe it was one of the elders of GMS that did a lesson and did a research on how many years a kingdom lasts, right, before it destroys itself or becomes destroyed. And it said it goes for 250 years, I believe it said. And what a coincidence that Trump's birthday is this Saturday, and America is hitting 250 years. So yeah, this wicked kingdom is going to be removed. That's great news. I want to go to Isaiah chapter 34. So much is happening, huh? Verse 5. For my sword shall be bay in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Yeah. So, the Edomites know that they have to get moving quicker, right? Because time is of the essence. Right? Verse 6, the sword of Yahushua is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahushua has a sacrifice in Bosnia and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Yeah. You're going to be seeing, this is only the beginning, right, of what you're going to see. People are going to be dropping dead. 2/3 of our people, that are going out there to protest, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. You won't find that in the scripture that we're supposed to go out there and protest. Okay, we're only supposed to go out and do the work of Yahweh Shai, okay? And that's it, right? We're not supposed to be throwing rocks at cops' cars or shooting at them or nothing else, spinning at them. That's crazy. But this is all planned by George Soros and the rest of the Goonies. Malachi, let me go there. Give me a minute. What? Malachi, what? Chapter 1, verse 4. Slovakia. Whereas Edom, right, the Edomites say, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate place. Thus said Yahweh of hosts of army. They shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the borders of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh has what? Indignation forever. Right? So the Edomites' plan is to destroy this system, right? Which really is Yahweh Shai who's making them do it, okay? But the Edomites are gonna, say they're the ones who came with the plan. So they're gonna destroy this place like they did in the past when they will run back to their caves, or back to when they will run to Europe, I believe, in the 70s, right? Somewhere that, I could be wrong, but Slovakia. But now they're going to think they're going to rebuild again with the new system, with this new beast bank system and AI technology. But it ain't going to happen here. Verse 11, for from the rising of the sun, even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. And in every place, incense shall be offered unto my name, and a pure offering for my name shall be great among the heathens, said Yahweh Shai of hosts. Yeah. And how that's the pure offering? We who have been called, right? The so-called Negros, Latino Americans, and American and speckled birds that have been called to go in the highways and byways as a living sacrifice, calling out the name of Yahweh Shai and telling this wicked world that, the empire is going to go away. Isaiah 66, give me a minute, chapter 66, verse, oh wow, I believe it was verse 2. For all those things hath my hand made, and all those things have been, said Yahweh Shai, but to this man, Slakia, will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrary spirit, and trembles at my words. So Yahushua is coming not only for the heathens, right, the Edomite, but he's also coming for 2/3 of our people, the so-called Negros, Latino, and speckled birds, right? Those who are participating in protesting, those who are participating, that were voting for the president, for Trump, right? And now it's biting them in the ass. And they don't care. They still keep going and participating, right? Jump to verse 15. For behold, Yahushua will come with fire, and with his chariot. Those are the so-called UFOs. They call them in the Bible chariots or clouds, okay? A whirlwind to render his anger with fierce, and his rebuke with flames of fire. Yeah, he's going to be zapping and disintegrating people left and right. Okay, you're going to be seeing babies disintegrate right before your eyes. Right, you're going to see old people, like the TV show Star Trek, right? When they shoot that laser beam, well, this is going to be same thing but much faster, right? I want to go to Revelation chapter, give me a minute, 19, verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, right? Because he's the King of all kings, Lord of all lords. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. Okay? So when it says no man, it's talking about those who gave him the finger, not the ones that have been called, by the way. I want to jump to verse 15. And out of his mouth goes a sharp, here it goes, sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treads the winepress, and the fierceness and wrath almighty Yahweh Shai. Yeah, those chariots, man, lightning speed, and those lasers, woo, zapping people left and right. Our people are going to freak out, especially the ones that are so into Christianity, right? These 501c3 incorporated Christian churches that say that God loves everybody. But wait till they see Yahweh Shai zapping little babies, disintegrating them. Mother and father, brother and sisters, uncles and cousins, grandma and grandpa, right? They're going to freak out. I want to go to Revelation chapter 1, verse 16. We're living in exciting times, man. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shine in his strength. Yeah, he's coming with authority and power of righteousness, right? He's going to set everything straight back in order, because what the wicked have done have put everything out of order. Verse 7, behold, he comes with clouds, right? There you go, chariots, right? With a host of angels, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, and all kindreds of the earth shall well because of him, even so. Yeah, you know, a lot of Edomites don't know which one it was that pierced Yahweh Shai, but they will know when he comes back. He's going to remind them. He's going to wake them up to that reality, right? Revelation chapter 2, verse 27. Give me a minute. Trying to keep it short, okay? And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as a vessel of a potter shall they be broken to shiver. Woo! Even as I receive of my Father. Wow, that's right. Yahushua tells our King, my big brother, 10 feet tall, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, it's time to go down there to earth and kick ass, right? And remove these wicked Edomites from power and their kingdom forever and ever. Verse 26, and he that overcomes and keeps my works unto the end, to him would I what? Give power over the nations. Now you know why they're coming after us. They don't want us to rule, right? To take over, but it's too late. Yahweh Shai already said it, and it's a done deal. Okay, I only hope that I'll be one of the chosen of the 144,000 chosen elect. Okay, I'll leave it with well, I was going to leave it with Slakia. Revelation chapter 14. That's what I was going to do. Chapter 14. I'll leave it with verse 19. Let's see if I got this right. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vein of the earth and cast it into the great what? Winepress of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Man, that winepress, that's a lot of people that are going to be dying for their wickedness, right? And the Edomites, those that are in high positions, they're going to go high under their bunkers. So they'll be the first ones to go into slavery when the new kingdom comes from heaven on earth. I hope that this was edifying, and with that I'll say, Shalom.